Beyond Meat's Q1 report was a huge disappointment to a lot of people out there. A lot of people expected their revenues to be a bit higher due to a belief that the restrictions of the restaurants would be uplifted. Yet this was not the case, as we know, which has led to that the stock has plummeted since Thursday. To me, this is just short-term noise. I don't really care about what's happening with the revenues right now, because what happens to revenues in 3 to 5 to 10 years is what concerns me. So let's talk about that today, here on the PlantStock channel. If we haven't met yet, my name is Jesse, and on this channel we focus on plant-based companies such as Beyond Meat, Tattoo Chef, and the Very Good Food Company, to name a few. And if you want to be part of it, make sure to subscribe and don't forget that bell button. And if you want to help me out to be able to spread this channel to more people out there, I would really appreciate an early thumbs up. Thank you, folks. I really appreciate your help. Now, as we know, the stock hasn't had an easy time this last month or so, and even longer, let's be honest. At the moment, ticker symbol BYND, it's down about 3%. Actually, before it opened, it was down around 5 to 6%. Yeah, but the day is still young. The market's only been open about 27 minutes. So it's around $103, $104 right now. And it's, up and down here, roller coaster, as we can see that it's been this last month as well. But basically, we've been seeing it going down from around $137, $140, and now down to about $103. It was about $101 pre-market. So what's going on? Well, we know already about the inflation and the uncertainty in the market, but there's another specific thing right now with Beyond Meat, and that is why it's plummeting so bad right now. And it is that yesterday there were two different analysts that actually downgraded this stock. And that is that Canaccord and the other is D.A. Davidson. But the big one here is actually D.A. Anderson. And that is that they actually lowered the price target with about $145 to $95, which is a 34% cut. That is huge, of course. And then Canaccord lowered it from 155 to 125%, which is a 19% decrease. Obviously, this is short-term noise. I mean, as they state actually here in the article, no one can predict the market, right? So, I mean, we don't actually know what's going on. That they chose to go before, they were up at 170 in January, and now they're pushing it down towards 95. I mean, guys, I'm not saying that we shouldn't listen to analysts every now and then, but again, they can't predict the market more than we can. So, especially not in these uncertain times. So to me, again, I don't care much about that, considering it's short-term noise. So as you know, with me, I care more about what we could see in 3 to 5 to 10 years from now, right? What kind of revenues could we see now? Well, we knew that they had about $400 million in revenue now from the annuals of 2020. And where could we see them then in 2030? And I got an excellent one here. Like, Beyond Meat's earnings sucked. Why Beyond stock is still a buy? And I like that we can try to find those golden nuggets here, what these analysts actually believe. So first of all, what is going on now? Why is it plummeting? And we know about the analysts, that the two ones that actually downgraded it yesterday. But there's two things also to think about here. Here, as it states, the big rebound in the food service segment as restaurants reopened. That was what people were hoping for. That didn't happen. And the second is a minor slowdown in retail segment as consumers stopped doing as much grocery shopping. So the revenues dropped about 34% year over year when it comes to the restaurants and food service business, right? And we know why, because over a year ago, when January, February, and March, Q1, then 2020, we didn't have the pandemic in this part of the world, right? So we didn't have those kind of issues. So that it's down now 34% year over year is not so strange. The restaurants haven't opened yet, not in that large way on a global scale, right? And then apparently people were disappointed that the sales year over year was only 40% higher. I mean, come on, almost 50% higher in retail during Rona. For me, that people are disappointed about that, it should instead, in my eyes, be that you should be woo. Basically, you should be surprised. You should be amazed by that. And that's because it was 85% growth in the prior quarter. So again, I think 45%, let me know down in comments, guys. 45% growth, isn't that pretty good? So investors are concerned that the strength of Beyond Meat's food service now during 2021 won't offset the weakness with their restaurant business. So according to this article, investors, they're concerned that the food service isn't going to open up as much or isn't going to make a huge deal for Beyond this year. And that might be that they're worried about that. And also we know about the inflation, and that's also striking Beyond Meat, which will affect profit margins. And we do know that they've had some issues with transportation costs, which is, cost that you have to think about. And Beyond Meat stock plunged on the flurry of bad news. We know this, nothing new. So I do like the way they phrased it here. Does it matter? And it's exactly like I stated here. It feels like near-term noise, right? Like I've stated many times, folks, if you invest for the future, if you invest long-term, 3, 5, 10 years ahead, then you don't really need to be nervous about what's going on right now. And one of the things that you could be positive about, as they state here, now in Q2 and Q3, restaurants will probably be more open, like here it says, fully reopen. And considering, folks, that they may not mention here is that people are taking their vaccines. So people will start going out eating more, probably more than last summer. So I do expect us to get a lot larger revenue from that. And that even though retail stores might slow down when people go out eating more, it's probably not going to hurt Beyond Meat that much, considering that people still always keep buying food in stores, right? And they are selling to more and more stores. So nothing to be nervous about that. And also, as this state, that the long-term trend of eating plant-based is just going to be bigger and bigger. And this is a company that is the industry leader here. So that's where you want to be placed. Even though it's probably going to be really good for a lot of plant-based companies out there, but being the number one, the one everyone knows about on a global scale that tries to mimic meat more than other companies, which they are focusing on. They're not focusing on the $140 billion plant-based industry. They're focusing on a $1.4 trillion meat industry. So that's the difference, right? So I do agree what they state here. Beyond stock will rebound from this near-term weakness, without a doubt, in my opinion. So if we're talking stock price and what kind of revenues we could see from them in the future, this is where it gets interesting. So we know that in 2030, the street with Jim Cramer, as we talked about, the guy who believes that Beyond Meat will probably be the next Facebook, the next Amazon, the next Google, right? That it's that big. They believe by 2030, they should have a revenue about $5 billion. Okay, $5 billion. That's 12.5x from where they're now. That's huge, right? But I like what this analyst is going here. They actually think that's conservative. They could see it being around $10 billion. And everything I know about Beyond Meat, I definitely see that as a possibility. That or maybe more. We actually don't know how large this is going to be. But $10 billion. Guys, $10 billion in revenue, in sales. Understand, we're not talking market cap here. We're talking sales. They had 400 now. What is this? A 25x in sales in 9 years from now. Very plausible in my opinion. So that is what we're paying for, right? And here also when it comes to the stock price at the moment, the street feels that it should be maybe around $140 now. And this analyst and that company believes it should be about 200. I also feel that makes sense considering everything they've got going. So as restaurants reopen, Beyond Stock could make a run towards 200 during the summer months. And I feel that's really interesting. So to conclude, again, why do I feel that this is short-term noise? Why don't I care about what's happening to the stock right now? Because when I pay for a company, right, when I own a company and keep reinvesting, which I will continue with this company, it is because I'm paying for their future, right? I'm paying for their future revenues, their future possibilities. Again, guys, when we're talking about that it will be a $10 billion sales company, right? Then we're not talking about the 5, 6, 7 products they have now. We're talking about a company that's going to move on into different food avenues to begin with. Imagine beyond milk, beyond yogurt, beyond soup, beyond bacon or fakin, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you need to think about that. It's going to grow into different kind of food sectors. Not to forget the deals they already have now with Mickey D, with Yum Brands, which includes Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Taco Bell, right? And then PepsiCo, the second largest food company in the world, right? And those deals haven't even started yet. They're starting now in the end of the year. So that's when we start seeing the revenues in maybe Q3, Q4, something like that. So guys, we're paying for the future. Be patient. That's the way you make money. So the stock price is around $100 at the moment. I would say that's a steal. I mean, my God, that is a steal. This is the time to invest, in my opinion. I only wish I had more money at the moment so I could invest more, and I will during the months to come. I'm going to keep investing in Beyond Meat, no doubt about that. This is the company where you want to have your money in. And if you're wondering, could it drop more? I actually do see that there's a possibility that it will drop more. Then keep investing more. Golden opportunity, dollar cost average, right? Whenever you get money, you put it in and then see what happens, and dollar cost average. And folks, for anyone out there who is interested in eating more plant-based food, but would want to choose a whole food approach, a healthier version in the long run, seeing what kind of energy you would get, then I suggest that take a look at the description down below and see if that's something you're interested in. Folks, that was it for today. I truly hope you got a lot of value from today's video. And if you did, I would appreciate a smashing of the like button. And if you want to keep getting more information regarding Beyond Meat, Tattoo Chef, the Very Good Food Company, maybe Else Nutrition, GDNP, and so on, make sure to subscribe and don't forget that very important bell button. And should you have forgotten, this was not financial advice. These were just my own thoughts and opinions. Always make sure to make your own due diligence and invest safe. Hope to see you soon. Peace out.